Hello, this is my social media project. I'm Daisy Campoverde. So, for my three different social media platforms, I chose Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter because they are the three platforms that I interact with the most and have the most experience on. To start off, Facebook is a website which allows users to sign up and create a free profile in order to connect with friends, work colleagues, and relatives. You can share pictures, status updates, your location if you're on vacation, and your opinions, anything under the sun, as long as you don't violate those user guidelines that you can find at facebook.com. In terms of correlation to our chapter 3 content, I found that Facebook and emotions can clash when it comes to using it for a negative or positive outlet. For example, some people use it to simply keep up with friends and family. I do that, which is one of the reasons that I'm still on there, because it is a platform that not many people use as much. It tends to be associated with older generations, but it can be a place where you can share emotional videos or news, happy news, or tragic news. Oftentimes, when you log into Facebook, you can see news about your family, someone getting a surgery, or tragically someone passing away, which can affect the user's emotion. Another emotion that arises through Facebook can be envy, and there is a lot of envy seen on Facebook between users because it is a platform where people mostly post their accomplishments or major life decisions and changes. It can cause an emotional tear for the user if they didn't get the reaction that they wanted. Reactions are a big part of Facebook because your friends are allowed to comment on your pictures and videos and status updates, and if you don't receive the response as mentioned before, a good response, then it can lead to negative emotions. Facebook and self-perception slash esteem. So negative self-perception depends on the post that you see on your timeline. You get to follow certain people or pages or like certain pages that can affect what you see on your timeline on a daily basis or how often you check it. Self-esteem is also impacted based on the pictures that are displayed on your timeline and can often leave a person who is constantly exposed to things that make them feel with low self-esteem insecure. Like if you follow a lot of fitness pages, you can leave the Facebook profile feeling a little bit sad and like you should work out more, and just comparing yourself to other people and other people's lives. Twitter is the second platform, and it's a free social networking kind of microblogging service where people use short bursts of posts called tweets, and you can broadcast your tweet to your followers, or anyone who is on the platform can see them, which makes Twitter one of the most universally wide used social media platforms. Twitter and emotions. Twitter can have a lot of negative emotions because it is a microblogging place and people love to state their opinions, whether they're good or bad. So if you go on Twitter in a great, happy mood and you go down your timeline or you go to your explore page and see what everyone's talking about, if everyone's in a sad mood, then that can put a damper on your day. And oftentimes people tweet their emotions without a filter, and it goes on the internet forever, and it impacts everyone who sees it in a sense. There are also higher chances of cyberbullying, and the new phenomenon known as cancel culture on Twitter promotes cyberbullying and attacking those who do things that population on Twitter does not agree with. It can be a problematic statement or a post or resurfacing allegations against a person, but cyberbullying tends to be found a lot on Twitter. Twitter users who back up, have a passion for a singer, a movement, or a person in particular, are known as Twitter stans, and they can be very brutal and often the sources of cyberbullying on this app. Another example is that sad or happy tweets can trigger positive or negative emotions and can affect you throughout more than a day, because once you retweet a post, it goes onto your personal time, like your personal profile. So if one day you're feeling sad and depressed and you retweet a bunch of sad things, the next day you log in and you're not feeling that way anymore, those posts will be there waiting for you and can affect that next day as well. Twitter and self-perception / self-esteem. Constant praisal of the ideal body type is often seen on Twitter and debated about, and societal beauty standards are often discussed on Twitter. And this can lower a person's self-esteem because if they are constantly being told that this person is pretty because they look like XYZ, and then they post pictures and get no retweets or no love from everyone, then they can feel less than. As mentioned before, the bullying and invasion of privacy is a big issue and can alter the self-perception of someone who goes through that negative experience with Twitter of being canceled or simply being booted off the platform by bullies. They can have their accounts hacked, and it can lead them to have a negative perception of social media. Another thing is the constant debate and political undertones of the Twitter platform, and this is what often scares people away about Twitter, because it's always a debate about something. It's a platform where people state their opinions, so it can cause harsh arguments and can skew the perception of a topic being discussed. The third platform I used is Instagram, and it's a social media app that is mostly picture-based, and you can share photos, like photos of other people, interact, use filters, play around with photography on there. Instagram is mostly used nowadays as a sort of business portfolio as well, and I'll get into that later, but there are personalities on Instagram who use it and get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars by the post. So it is a very important social media network in today's day. In correlation with what we learned in chapter 3, people share like their happy times and moments where they are feeling themselves, to quote Beyonce, or moments of high self-esteem with others, and it can be impacted by the response of their followers on Instagram. Like if I were to post a picture that I thought was the best picture in the world, and then I'm gonna get 1,000 likes on it, and every single person I follow is gonna give me a like, and I ended up getting like 20 likes, then that can trigger me to feel sad or to question what I am lacking. Since it is a picture-only platform, there's also the unrealistic expectations of, having a perfect life. Most people post their brunch, or they post like their outfits of the day, and it can trigger negative emotions if someone is constantly comparing themselves to that or striving to live this life pictured on their timeline. Instagram and self-perception / self-esteem. So I think Instagram has a huge impact on a person's self-perception and self-esteem because of the personalities and celebrities who, like I mentioned before, use it as a business, and some of these people create the societal beauty standards, and it can decrease the self-esteem of young and impressionable people, as well as those who want to one day aspire to be like them. It can affect self-esteem because someone who already suffers with low self-esteem can be less likely to post a picture because they would be too afraid to see themselves not get as many likes as someone popular like Kylie Jenner. There's also constant appraisal of thin and fit Instagram models, and there's something known as the ideal Instagram body, which is just unrealistic proportions. And you can often see this on models, and it's all over Instagram. Even if you do not follow these Instagram models, there are clothing stores that will promote this on your timeline, and it will come up regardless, and it can trigger negative effects in people, such as body dysmorphia and other skewed perceptions of self-esteem and beauty. Social media and education. Social media can impact education and provide knowledge that can be accessed in seconds to many people around the world. It can also act as a resource for students and teachers so that they can share resources and tips with each other. This is often seen, for example, students who have gone through the applying for college process can post all about their study tips and what they did to prepare and get into schools like Harvard and Yale, which can provide a lot of help for others that are now facing that same position. And since it's on the internet, it's forever. So many generations to come can benefit from that, making our education system easier to work through. Social media can also help students to connect, to complete homework assignments and projects, or simply share their views regarding our education system. It's often highly debated on Twitter that our education system could use some improvements. So through these debates and discussions, our education system changes daily, in my opinion, and there's always more of an opportunity to change something that might not be working out. Social media's impact on society is that social media is a very important component of our society, especially in today's modern age. Everyone stays connected over the internet and shares their opinions, their passions, their interests with others, and voices everything they believe in or don't believe in. It can be used as a business, as mentioned before, or to simply find a significant other, but is usually used to foster friendships and maintain distant relationships, whether it's business, friendship, etc. Social media can have a negative impact on society if it is exploited and used negatively, and the influences that come from the social media translate into society negatively. And if society conforms to these negative beliefs that are being portrayed on social media, it can prime society to think that way. And as we learned, priming is a very important component in the dictation of society. Social media and social relationships. So as we mentioned before, social media has many uses. There are infinite amount of uses. I think every day someone discovers a new way to use social media. But the apps like mentioned, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, are a great place to meet people and build relationships that can last a lifetime and can be very beneficial to you. Social media can make current existing relationships difficult sometimes because there are new societal expectations raised. As we saw before, there are new standards translated into society from social media, like posting about your significant other, how long you should be in a relationship till you get married, things of that nature. And social media can make couples go through a few loops in their relationship. And then making a relationship public and open to everyone on social media can have its downsides, because whether it's a romantic relationship or just a friendship, if you air out all of your issues and everything, it's no longer a closed off matter, and you have the opinions and influences from the social media coming into that delicate topic that is a relationship. So before completing this project, I want to say that I villainized social media to a certain extent because I felt as though it was a very toxic place. I myself try to stay off social media as much as I can, but due to COVID-19 and quarantine, there's not much else to do. So I see a lot of the ways that it can affect